I'll share some progression. I'm going to be heading up to Oakland here shortly after this live session to go look at a duplex, an off-market duplex. That seems to be a possible win. Be able to possibly lock that one in. And I'll also share some knowledge when you're looking at, locking down deals or getting into deals. It's always so important, uber important at a high level to really understand that different cities and different counties operate differently. From a transfer tax standpoint, when you acquire a property like in Stockton, for a house I'm looking at today, probably around $350, transfer tax might be $400, right, to transfer that title. But in Oakland, it's like $5,000. So you got to know your neighborhood, you got to know the cost, you have to know the additional expenses. You need to understand, especially in California, the landlord-tenant laws and how rent control changes from city to city. And so if you get into a deal just looking at the ARV, just looking like at the earning potential, but you don't know the local rules and laws and ordinances, you get yourself in a lot of trouble. So that's just for me. I'm sharing that with you all. Jason, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. We're getting right into it, man. You got a win for us regarding this week?
Yeah, I get to meet with you shortly.
That's a win. That's a win. I get to meet with you as well, brother. I get to meet with you. So what we're doing, I mean, Jason's going to be headed out to Oakland and probably grabbing some barbecue and looking at some property. Instagram, good morning. We're going to go over a relationship with lenders. Four, really have five. The fifth one's a secret. It's not too big of a secret, though. I just hope I remember it because I'm trying to keep it a secret, but I got to make sure I remember it later on. I know how I'll do it. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so when we're looking at investing in property, there's, forgive me, Instagram. If you guys want to join our live session, if you want to be a part of our community, go ahead and DM me, DM101, and we'll get you hooked up. But there's the confidence of creating a relationship with hard money lenders. And if you guys have any questions at the end, we're going to open up the Q&A. So if you got any questions, just write it down. That way we don't forget. I want to make sure I get through everything because some of the stuff, some people really don't know. And some of you may know some of this information. But without further ado, the confidence of creating relationship with hard money lenders. One small footnote, you'll see in this industry, people will use the term hard money lender and private money lender, right? Those have some very unique similarities, but they're very different. When you look at hard money, these are companies, these are like institutions that get money from a variety of different sources, people's IRAs, people's savings, people's net worth, and then they repurpose and like re-lend the money, right? For a fee, for points. They make some money off managing the loan, getting the lenders, getting the buyers, or those that want to borrow the money, borrowers and lenders, and connecting them. Those are like businesses. But then you have what's called private money. That could be your mom, your sister, your neighbor, your coworker that will say, hey, I'll loan you some money. What you typically see from a hard money standpoint, that lane, you see that those are really more formal and structured. You'll see the contracts, you'll see consistent rates across the industry. They'll fluctuate, be like a slightly higher than your average interest rate when you're doing an FHA loan. And then they usually want to see that loan backed by real estate. So if you're buying a piece of property for $100,000 and they'll loan you 70% of it, they'll loan you $70,000, and you'll be putting up 30 for collateral. And then also they'll go on title in a position that allows them to be able to recover their money, supposing you can't pay off that debt. That's a simple version of hard money. And then you get private money. Private money may be a mentor of yours, or your grandma might say, listen, I know you're trying to scale some property. I'll loan you the money. She may say it's zero interest, no interest. She may say, you don't even need a note. We can just do a handshake agreement. Or you may have some terms in there that are beneficial in which that person becomes your partner and they can make money and secure it. But I just want to make that quick note because that seems to be terms that you use interchangeably and they're not the same, but very similar, right? In a lot of ways. So the first one is build relationship / referral partners. When I look at my career and what I've been able to accomplish with any level of success, I always kind of go back to the money. You follow the money. And more particular, let me go ahead and let this person, Ulysses, in. More particular, what happens is when you're buying real estate, it costs a lot of money, especially in California. When you're scaling it and you're trying to buy multiple pieces of real estate, that costs a lot of money as well. And so when you're building when you're building relationships with hard money lenders, it's so important that you do it. If you have no experience or you don't know a hard money lender initially, but you Google their information, you find it in a Facebook group or somebody gives you a phone number, you're trying to establish this relationship. And you're trying to have confidence within yourself that you will be able to secure this loan, this debt with this lender. And at the same time, you want them to have the confidence in you that you can perform and do the things you say you're going to do. So how do you do that if you have no track record? Most of us are trying to get into our first deal. How do you do that if you don't have real estate that can back that? How do you do that if you don't have financial backing, if you don't have any assets, things of that nature? Well, it's the most simplest way to do it that will cost you no money is to do this. Identify 5 hard money lenders. If you're talking to other people in this group or in the real estate community, if you say, hey, can you give me a hard money referral? They'll give you one. There's Kiavi, there's Socotra Capital, there's Bank of Stockton, there's a lot of them, right? Many of you can Google them. You can chat GPT to give you a list of over 50. Well, what you do is, one, you want to reach out to these folks and find a point of contact. Get them on the phone. Hey, I'm getting into real estate investing. I'm looking at securing some debt. What are you guys' terms? They'll pop that over to you through an email with no problem. They'll say, these are the points we do. These are the terms that we have. And here's the requirements for you to secure a loan, right? So that's good information for you to read and for you to study, right? But to go further than that, that person becomes one of your point of contacts. You want to have multiple points of contacts in different hard money companies. These hard money lenders typically only work with investors. So the way that they build a relationship with you is very different than how a bank would build a relationship with somebody in the community. The bank typically doesn't know you by your first and last name, and you don't have that frequency of communication. In hard money lending and real estate in particular, these relationships are easy to harness and for you to be able to call their cell phone and be on first name basis. So you don't have any money, you don't have any experience. You've reached out to them. They've given you the information on the terms, right? Had a great conversation. They've allotted the time for you, 15, 20-minute phone call. They'll do that because they believe in the business. They know that they can scale this, right? And that's the nature of it. What you can do is become a referral partner. So you're networking. We're always networking as real estate investors as we're looking for our first deal. We're talking to wholesalers. We're talking to, we're going direct to market, direct to seller, right? We're going to a variety of events. We're on Instagram, we're on social media. We're talking to a lot of people about real estate. We're on this live session and we're talking as well. So what you do is, I get the question oftentimes from a lot of people, hey, I'm looking for a lender, because they haven't simply sat down, Googled 10 lenders in California or that lend in California and made that point of contact. They really don't know where to start. I'm looking for a lender. Well, because you've had an introduction with a lender, let's call him Brian, right? We'll say Brian at Sacramento Lending. Right, you've emailed them, you got the information, you guys spoke a little bit. When somebody asks me that question, hey, do you have a hard money person? I say, yeah, I got a guy named Brian. In fact, I'll connect you with them. Let me call him and then I'll set us up on 3-way text. Now I pick up the phone. Hey, Brian, this is Jacob. About 2 weeks ago we talked and you sent me over an email regarding the terms. I'm the guy out of Sacramento. Oh yeah, Jacob, how are you doing? Good talking to you again. Oh man, I'm doing good. How about yourself? Great. Hey, Brian, I got a guy that's looking for a hard money lender. I don't know where he or she is at in their process, but would you be opposed to me giving them your contact or maybe setting us up on a 3-way text message? I can't think of a single reason why Brian would say, no, don't send me somebody that wants to borrow money. I've also prefaced him that I don't really know them that well, but they're looking for some money. I don't know if they have a property locked up. I don't know their experience. So Brian, definitely vet them. But I thought of you and I want to make sure I get you some business, right? So when you begin to do that, you're picking up the phone, you're talking to Brian once a week, twice a week, every other week, once a month. Now you're building that constant connection, okay? Now you're more comfortable, you're more confident. And Brian, suppose one of those people do a loan with Brian, right? Because if I connect Anthony, let's say Anthony is our person. I connect Anthony and Brian, I put them in a 3-way group message. Hey, you guys, Anthony, meet Brian, Brian, meet Anthony. I hope you guys do some good business. Let me know if I can be any assistance. The next time I see Jason, I'm gonna say, Jason, how did it go? Did you pop that deal through? Oh yeah, Brian took care of me. We got the deal locked up. We're gonna be closing in about 2 days. That looks very good. That means that you're bringing value to Jason and you're bringing value to Brian. Meanwhile, you don't have a deal. You don't have the money to secure anything. You don't have what it takes, but you have relationships. And so what happens is when you consistently do that, not even consistently, if you do it once or you do it a couple times, these relationships increase in the sense that you're more comfortable to reach out to these people. And they're open when you call them. Now they start saving your number. So when you do find a deal, you call Brian, you say, Brian, hey, this is Jacob. Jacob, man, thanks for connecting me with Jason. What's going on? Man, I'm trying to put this deal together and I just don't know where to start. So if you don't know how to analyze a deal, you don't really clearly understand, although Brian would have sent you their term sheets, you still don't quite understand how you're going to navigate this deal. I am 100% positive because people like Brian only work with investors, but they like to provide value to and build relationships because that's how they make money. So when you call them and say, I got this deal and I really don't know where to start, I'm confident Brian will stop what he's doing and say, okay, well, look, I got my calculator out. What's the address? Okay. How much are you going to buy it for? What's the source of the deal? What do you think it's going to cost you to get the improvements done? And because most hard monies lend everywhere, they typically know people that are in your city that they have business relationships with already. They'll say, hey, man, I got a contractor in Sacramento. I got a contractor in Fresno. I've been doing this 20 years. I know a lot of people that flip in different cities because I loan in different cities. Now you begin to get a value that's much better than money. You get information, you get a mentor, you get somebody that is invested in you and is going to help you get to the next level. In addition, as you begin to fill out your loan application and this property begins to become something real, Brian, this lender, he's going to make the adjustments to make sure, as long as it's a good deal, right? You have no track record. Typically, they might say, look, we want another cosigner. Brian's going to say, no, we don't need another cosigner. Here, just get the application over to me and I'm going to help walk you through it. And what did it take you? It took you some networking and becoming a referral partner by sending people to Brian. So I have one of the companies I work with, I'd be a lie if I didn't send in my career over 100 different people. Now, I didn't say all these deals closed, but my point of contact there, I call her up all the time. I said, hey, listen, I'm going to three-way you with my buddy. You got a second? Sure. Three-way. Hey, this is my friend Jason. He's looking for a loan. I'm confident I've done it over 100 times. Now, I do a lot of business with this company already. I know for sure the exceptions they make for me is solely based off relationship. In addition, one of the things I'm really proud of with this company in particular and within myself is they always say this. Well, Jacob, see, we trust you, Jacob. Jacob, we owe you a bone, Jacob. Why would you say, Jacob, we owe you a bone? Because that relationship I built doing this referral thing, it turned into things like, hey, Jacob, we have a property that's being foreclosed in Sacramento. Can you pop by and take a picture? I was already going to drive that area anyway. I snapped a picture. I'm their source and I'm the point of contact. It's cost me no money to do a one-off that they're asking me to do, but now they're calling me. So they always tell me, still to this day, Jacob, we owe you a bone. Jacob, we owe you. Man, I don't need a bone. Just keep doing my loans. If I call for 300 grand, if I call for 400 grand, just send it. I get the best interest rates. I'm pretty sure most people are paying between 9 and 9.5%, or probably 9 to 10.5 right now. I'm getting a better rate than that, right? I get phone calls on Thanksgiving from this company. They call me, hey, happy Thanksgiving, man. For me and my husband and my kids, we just think that you're a great person. I don't think I'm a great person or a bad person, but the way they say it, they believe in me. They have the confidence in me based off my track record. So establishing these relationships don't always have to cost you money, but you got to do something, become a referral partner. This allows you to build multiple relationships. I built a relationship with Jason and I'm building a relationship with Brian. Jason will always remember who connected him with Brian. And maybe Jason one day will throw me a bone and say, Jacob, hey, I want to do a deal with you. So for those of you that haven't got your first loan and looking to build that level of of confidence, and you have no resources, at least you don't think you do, this is a very simple and easy way to do it, right? So let's get into number 2. That's about the experience model. What's very, very important is when you connect with the hard money lenders or even a private money lender, when we go back to confidence, they want to see that you can demonstrate your experience. What kind of experience do you have? The most of us that are in this community, because that's what it's designed for, it's about getting people into the first deal. So this is how much experience you have, 0. But what does that mean? It really means nothing. Because just because you don't have the experience, as we go back up to the first one, there's other ways that you can build the confidence. So don't let the lack of your experience be the reason for the season in which you don't get into real estate investing. However, having the right experience and being able to demonstrate that can really allow you to negotiate from strength and somebody to have that confidence in you. What are some metrics of experience? Properties flipped before. Properties. What they're going to look at is properties you bought, acquired in your name or in your LLC's name, and that you sold and you flipped. They'll use that information. Typically, when they send you an application, they'll say, send us your last 5 properties that you flipped in the last 24 months. So then you'll write down the addresses. You'll write the time you bought it, June 1st, time you sold it, December 1st. I mean, you held it for 5 or 6 months. You pumped so much money into it, and then it shows the sale price as well. So you bought it for $100,000. You sold it for $250,000. These lenders are experienced. They know how much it costs to do a flip, right? So they can look at the margins and say, yeah, he probably put about 50 grand into that property, which allowed him to make 100 grand. And so when you send over that application and you send over that experience of the 5 properties that you flipped in the last 24 months, that gives them the very quick confidence to be able to acknowledge you and offer you their loan products. Also, another way to do it is if you pull permits, right? Because permits are a matter of record, or any other type of referral that can vouch on your behalf. But typically, they don't want somebody to just say it. They do want to see the social proof. So as you're getting into your first deal, or maybe you haven't gotten your first deal yet, right? How can you start to build up that track record? Because with the right track record, you get 100% financing. That's really what this boils down to. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Can you put yourself in a position to get a property financed 100%? So we're talking about the entire project, the purchase, and all the improvements, and even a contingency plan if need be. How will you get that? Those lenders really want to see that you can get it done. You understand risk. You understand the beginning to the 9th inning of a project, how to acquire a project, analyze it, negotiate a good deal, get in the project, manage your workers, manage your contractors, manage your team, and then exit in a timely manner. And at the same time, understand the market conditions of high inflation, high interest rates, COVID spikes, and then a drawback of 10 to 15%, which we saw about 2 years ago when things got a little softer. Can you navigate that? And history will show in a 24-month period, if you're doing things right, you're understanding your numbers, you're mitigating your risk, you're taking a conservative approach, it doesn't matter what the market does, you will remain successful because everybody stubs their toe. But sometimes people are too risky and it can put them out of business. And hard money lenders don't want to associate themselves with people like that, right? So to demonstrate your experience, let me give you a key nugget you can utilize. Back to leveraging you. In the beginning, you have time, not money. Later on, you have money, and then you don't have time. The more money you make, the more time you can allocate, right? Or you can buy a little bit more time. So what you can do is, if you know somebody that's taking down deals or has the finances to take down a deal and you partner with them, we talked about that in the last few weeks. When you partner with somebody, it's one of the best ways to segue into real estate investing because you can really have somebody that can guide you with their experience, you mitigate your risk, you give up a little bit of your profits, but your ability to succeed and go through a process with somebody holding your hand and somebody that has the resources to the economics and the labor and the materials and the vision, right? And the know-how and the county and the permits. You give up a little bit of profits for that type of education. That's a Harvard Law School education for something very little. So whether you find the deal, they bring the money, you raise the money, they find a deal, you partner with them and negotiate those terms. But what happens is when you record on the purchase of the property, you want to make sure you get your name on that deed. Because whether you do a lot of the work or not, whether you do none of the work, but you are a partner on it, once that property is purchased, name's recorded. Then when it's sold, that transaction recorded as well. That becomes foolproof experience that you can put in front of a hard money lender. Because when you send them over your track record and you say this property is 112 Dorothy, right? They don't say, hey, how many hours did you work on the property? How much of the property was your responsibility? How much do you know about, did you ever go to the property? They don't ask you that. My name was on the deed and then it was sold. That property belonged to me. That's part of my experience. So you ask yourself this, again, as you're trying to grow in real estate, right, with delayed gratification. As you're negotiating these partnerships, which are very, very important because it can really accelerate your journey. Is it more important to earn a little money Or do you think that there's more value in you being able to add to your experience that will allow you to borrow 100% of the money for scalable deals? You pick. I see a lot of people oftentimes, and I don't get the sense right from anybody in this community. They're trying to. I gotta make the 30,000. I gotta make the money on my first flip. It's not about a flip. It's not about I want to have a property. It's not about I want to say I did it. It's about putting multiple pieces together in your tool belt that allow you to make this one-off flip a scalable business, a career, an exit strategy in which you can buy back your time and reposition your life in a way that really is your dream. Because I don't think anybody in here is not dreaming of becoming a success in real estate investing to be able to scale themselves and get the benefits of depreciation and leave property to their family and then be financially free. So if that's the big overarching theme and vision, then giving up something like a referral partner, dedicating yourself to becoming a referral partner, that costs nothing. Just a little bit of talking and being very intentional and following up. And to demonstrate your experience, to be able to gain some experience, I just told you the golden rule and the trick. As you partner with somebody, you're not giving up anything. You're getting your experience recorded. So you partner with somebody in Q1 of this year. You partner with somebody in Q2 this year. You partner with 2 people in Q3, meaning that does not mean you have to do all the work. You just need to be on title. So you partner with two people in Q3 and 1 person in Q4. That's 5 flips you've done. And let's say you make no money off of them. None. But you gave up some time. Those 5 will allow you to go to a lender at this point and go get 100% of the financing. I don't know how much better it can get, but very simple. And I see that as we're saying, man, I want to get into my first deal. There's so many things that you can be doing, but these are the things of value that you should be doing. Buying a property yourself will make you possibly some money. Being very intentional about increasing your experience, you can't buy that. Only time and the right actions can do that, but the return on that far supersedes you saying, I got my first flip, I made 50. You can take that 50 and throw it out the window. I want the experience. All right? So I want to dive next into our number 3. This is the CC business plan. What are the CCs for? Crystal clear business plan and your due diligence. So this is very important because what you'll find is when you're working with hard money lenders, as I say so many times, their experience. Some of these people do 50 loans a month, I should say, 50 loans a month. And work with some very talented people. All right, they have relationships with investors that go longer than the Nile River. They have some of the relationships that they've been having for over 20 years of people that have been taking out loans from them. And the thing about hard money lending, it's regulated 100%. There's rules to it, but there's a lot of flexibility in which they can do a lot of creative things. And hard money lenders, as we spoke earlier, as I was kind of breaking it down, they're like a company. And they get money from different people. Maybe you have money in your IRA, you have your money in your trust. You'll say, hey, I'll put it in the hard money. I'll put it with this hard money company to outperform my savings account or the stock market or get a higher return, right? So there's all these investors that'll throw money. And these people that have the hard money company, they are the responsible party to make sure that they do their due diligence on properties and people and loan the money effectively. If they loan the money effectively and it comes back and they send it back to the investor will reinvest. And then this becomes their business. They have an endless supply of access to money and they can just throw it and throw it and throw it. Well, when you go reach out to Wells Fargo because you're trying to buy mom a brand new house, you're going to get a conventional loan, whomever you talk to at the front desk of Wells Fargo, they don't know you and they don't care. And you'll probably never meet them again. But these hard money people, you can really, you have the opportunity to talk to them directly, intimately, and personally. And so they can move mountains for you. They'll say our company policy is we only do 70% LTV. We loan 70%. That's what they'll tell you when they type it out to you and send it to you. They have the ability to, they have money themselves. So sometimes they're not loaning their own money, but their clients' money. They can say, hey, Jason, we've been working together for a year now, man. I like what you're doing, man. I see you're committed. And you know, one thing, you always pay on time. And whenever you get to a pickle, you call, you're transparent with us, right? If you need that other 30%, I'll loan it to you. So you'll say, Jacob, well, why do you think that they'll do that? Because they do it for me. They do it for me. One of these weeks, I'm gonna go live and I'm gonna punch a call, right? And I'm gonna say, hey, what's going on? Hey, Jacob, what's going on? Shh. Hey, I got you on speaker. I got some of my business partners here. I'm taking down a deal. I got 200,000, but I need another 40. You think you can do something with that? 3, 2, 1, boom. Yeah. How much do you need? It happens all the time. If I needed it, happens all the time. So I'm not giving you this unicorn story. This is how hard money works. It's a whole lot more flexible. And those are the things we need to realize. But you can't get the benefit of the flexibility if you aren't doing the things in your tool belt to demonstrate your experience and your referral partners. But let me stay focused, because I was getting on the crystal clear business plan and due diligence. When speaking with these hard money lenders, they know real estate talk. They know the market probably better than most investors, because they're talking to multiple investors. They're talking to a guy in Fresno. They're talking to a guy in Oakland. They're talking to a guy in Sacramento. They're talking to a gal right before you get to Oregon. And they're always telling them, hey, I'm looking at these properties. Or you guys were just holding a note on a property that I couldn't get sold in Eureka. And that Eureka market is moving really slow. And I know, even though I had it, because they watch when you put it on the market, they watch, hey, my property's on the market. I think I'm gonna close in about 30 days. I want to start getting our documents together. Well, they know that property was sitting on the market for 90 days, 100 days. They know the Eureka market is slow. They know these different things. Well, way better than most people. So when you hop on the phone with them, you say, hey, Brian, I know I connected with you with Jason, and I'm looking at a property here in Stockton. I want to take it down. Well, he's gonna say, well, what's the ARV? They're all over the place. Some 500, 600. I even saw a 700, but it just depends. Okay, clearly you haven't ran your comps, because that was a very clear question and it's a very clear answer. Meaning, what are the average homes selling for with the similar bed, bathroom, square footage count? So let's say you do know that. Yeah, I would say 550. Then Brian's probably going to hit you back. Is that on the high end or the low end? Well, there's some 550, 555. Well, what's on the low end? Some 530. So Brian can already say that you don't have the experience and wisdom to know that when we're comping properties, we're always going on the soft end. You pick the high end every time, you'll be a dead man or a dead woman, right? So these are the type of nuances that Brian would be listening to. What type of investor are you? How wise are you? How realistic are you? Right? Are you conservative? They love when people talk conservatively by saying, listen, there's some high comps out there at 550, but the way I did my math, I put it at 525. I'm positive I'll be the best looking piece of property out there, and things that were worse in shape sold at 525. So if I could sell it for more, that's great. But for me, I like to remain conservative just in case. I like to protect myself, and I like to protect my investor. Brian says, oh, you care about me. You're not just trying to run out there and make something happen. You have the wisdom to know just how this business works, right? So when we look at a business plan and your due diligence, did you run your comps? Have you been to the property? Have you done your math? Did you identify your hard costs and your soft costs? Do you understand if it is a fire property? Let's say you're looking at a property that was on fire. When you're talking to Brian, he's going to say, well, tell me a little bit more about the property. It was a fire property, and I've already gone down to the county, and they told me just based off the fire report, because this house was burned down 3 months ago, based off the fire report, I won't have to change out any electrical. There will be no additional permits, and I got that in writing because I want to protect myself and no surprises, and I want to protect my investor. Once again, it's not a me, it's a we, because they are your financial partners, right? When you're talking like that and you're thinking like that, you find out that they can have the trust in you. They say, hey, I want to give this girl or guy a chance here. But without having a crystal clear business plan and due diligence, what is the plan? What's your overarching real estate plan? Are you buying and holding? Are you flipping? But even more than that, with this particular property, what is the plan? How long are you going to be in the deal? How much money is the deal going to take? Who's your contractor? Where are you going to get the material from? What's going to happen if we loan you the money for the property, but you run out of reserves? Do you have reserves? On the phone with Brian, yeah, I like this property. I only need about $350, and honestly, I probably don't need all the 350, but I want to keep some cash reserve just in case something happens. These are the type of conversations that you want to pose for yourself in advance so you can have the confidence by letting somebody know that, hey, I have a very clear business plan. I have a very clear model on how I'm going to execute this deal. That will give you the confidence if you have that plan, but it'll also give Brian or whoever that lender is that same level of confidence. Then we're going to get into collateral. This is a good one. Early on in my career, when I was trying to strike my first loan, I had already done some things. I had already become a referral partner on accident. I would just send the people to this lender that I met. I've never done a deal with him, right? But I didn't own any property yet. And so oftentimes, lenders are looking to find ways that they can secure this debt. There's something called cross-collateralization. And that essentially is when you use a property that you own or an asset that you own, and you borrow against that. And you put this piece of property up by saying, if I don't fulfill my promise, you can come and take this property. You can come litigate me for this property. I'm willing to jeopardize this. So as you scale your business, if you have a primary residence, let's say you went FHA 3.5%, right? Good way to get into real estate. I always recommend, if you can do that, get it done. By having a home that you can put up, by saying, I'm so confident in this deal because I've done my due diligence, I have a crystal clear business plan, I've improved my experience because I partner with people. How I partner, none of their business. I can get this done, but also, hey, I only have 2 homes that I can demonstrate my experience with. But I have this piece of property. In fact, me and my family live in it. I wouldn't lose it for the world. Can we cross-collateralize this property and get this deal done? They'll say, yeah, most of the time. And so these are just the different ways as we're trying to get into our first flip. What do we have? What type of value do we have to bring to the table that we compel a lender to become our partner and push us over the hill so we can get to this first deal to make some money, increase our scalability, increase our confidence, and then by getting through the first deal, that's so important, that increases the confidence back in the lender, because you're letting the lender know, yeah, man, thank you so much for loaning me the money. I'm finishing up some paint. I know this is month number 2. I've already made my first payment. We're going to be getting this thing on the market here in about 15 days, but I'm back out there looking for more deals. Just in advance, great time to have the conversation. I'll be listening in about 10 days. In advance, once we close this up, you think we can put another one together? Now, assuming you cross-collateralize your first one, right? Oh, sure, Jacob, yeah, get on the market, right? I'm not going to say the terms. Okay, for sure. Well, once I get this over the hill, I'll make sure I give you a call and we'll lock something else up. I'm having a great time working with you guys and having fun. Talk to you soon. Click, right? A week, 2 weeks go by, you put the house on the market, you close the deal. Once you close the deal and their money, they receive their money back to them, you made all your payments on time, that's when I call them like this. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm looking at 2 properties now, man. Again, thank you for loaning that money to me. That was really good. I think we're going to do some big things. I got 2 deals I'm looking at, but in particular, I want to take them down. You think at this point you have enough trust in me in which we don't have to do any cross-collateralization? And you come on strong. Sure, Jacob, you just did that. It's the perfect opportunity to ask them because you're coming off a high. And these are just small nuances that are going to allow you to scale your real estate portfolio, scale your real estate journey, and be able to use tools that don't cost money to increase your ability to have strong relationships with private money lenders, because now I'm bringing my business back to you and you already know my track record. Okay. This is the 5th one, right? This is the golden rule. I think that you can take something from everything we went over, but this one in particular, it's always is what I have it. Always, 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 always be raising money. You should always be raising money. It doesn't matter whether you're in a deal, out of a deal, you've done 3 deals, you've done no deals. All your conversations should be of that. We're always raising capital. Because if you wait till you start having access to a sweet deal or deals to start raising capital, you will leave so much meat on the bone. Because you'll have a great deal and not know what to do with it. But when you're always actively raising capital with different people and building these relationships, some businesses go out of business because they're not doing well. Some just aren't loaning money. Sometimes you go to private money companies, or hard money companies rather, and they're tapped out. They don't have access to any more capital at this point. they won't have access until more deals close in which they loan money on. Some get conservative and say, I talked to a guy yesterday. He said, yeah, Jacob, I told him I was looking at something in Oakland. He said, yeah, Jacob, I'd loan you any type of money you want. I just don't like Oakland. I don't like the politics there, right? I think the mayor's in trouble is what he told me. And the governor won't clean it up. And the historical performance of Oakland, I love it. He doesn't. He said, yeah, I don't want to park my money there. So now I have to go to a different route. Well, I have 10 other people to call. So I'm not losing any sweat. But if you're not actively raising capital, if you're not actively building these relationships, if you have one is too close to none. And again, because you never know when you're going to find your next true solid partner that you both mesh, you both are on the same page, you want to work with them, they want to work with you, because you'll meet a lot of people. That doesn't mean you want to work with them. That doesn't. I know, like I said, most people should be getting about a 9.5% on their loans right now. So you look at like a 1.5 on the purchase, as well as 9.5% interest rate on a monthly basis, right? I know people that are paying 13 and 14%. I had a guy call me the other day and say, yeah, Jacob, I really want to do some business with you. It's the same thing. Do some business with you, right? Man, I think we can just do something good, man. Because you're a great guy, man, I'm thinking I can put it to you at 13%. And I know I hit 13%. I've never paid 13%. I paid 10.5 before. But since I've always been raising capital and always been raising money, and I understand on a deeper level how these relationships work, I'm not even paying 9.5 right now, and I don't intend to unless all of the market shifts. So when you told me 13%, you try not to take it personal. But I was like, man, I was born at night, not last night. You're not doing me a favor. Oh, Jacob, we should work together. He's trying to gouge me. And I don't, for some reason, he supposed either I don't know, or he doesn't know that I'm always raising capital. Meaning that I have 10 people at 10%. And 5 people at 9%. I got a couple people cheaper than that. And I have a couple private people that might do it for free if I ask for the favor. In addition, I can cross-collateralize my assets. I can risk a property or two and tell them just loan me all the capital. Right? So what am I getting at? If you're always raising capital, you will know what the market is, how the market's performing. What are other people getting? But the interesting thing, I do know some people paying 12. I do. But what that tells me is that they only have one relationship because they don't understand the diversity of the other opportunities that are out there because they're not always raising capital. So the golden rule is always, 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 always raise capital. And that's what I got. So let's dive into the Q&A.
Ulysses is first on the board. He has a couple questions.
This was all about having the appropriate confidence when creating these relationships with hard money lenders, but also having the confidence in ourselves. Ulysses, you there?
What's going on, Jake?
Good morning. Ulysses, give me 1 second. IG, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop it in the comment section. And if you'd like to join our community, go ahead and DM us, DM101. And we'll make sure we get you the appropriate information. That way you can be part of our community and kind of get some of the fruits of this type of information. But Ulysses, my apologies. Talk to me, man. What you got?
Yeah. So if we plan on turning a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom into a 3-1, are we comps at 3-1 since we're going to add another room?
Good question. You said if you're looking to do a conversion, and originally the house is what?
2-1. 2. Want to turn it to 3-1.
Okay.
Our comps going to be all at 3-1.
All your comps are going to be at 3-1. Are you adding any square footage?
Yeah. I'm adding another room.
Okay. And at exit, do you plan on getting this permitted or no?
No.
Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah, you're going to want to run the comps directly for what the house is representative of. Well, let's back up. The first thing is your exit strategy. Who's your end user? I'd imagine you're saying, hey, this is probably going to go to somebody that's going to occupy the property, in which they're going to probably use a FHA or a conventional, maybe 5 or 10%, right, owner occupied loan. It might be a family. And so this family may or may not be concerned with the permits, but in short, what's important to look at is when somebody's getting an FHA or a conventional product, that appraiser is going to go out there and the jury is going to be the appraiser. He or she is going to make the decision on how they give it value. But when they walk the property, they're going to measure the exterior and then they're going to go on the interior. And in their notes, they're going to write what they see. If I see 3 bedrooms or I see 2 bedrooms, irregardless of what's on the county records. Now, a supplement of information regarding the specs of the county record will be attested at appraisal, but they're going to compare it to other 3-1s in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yes, one more question.
You got another one for me, Ulysses?
I did. Let me see. I forgot what I asked on the second. Oh yeah. So like when it comes to running comps, if we don't have access to the MLS, like what websites would you recommend us using?
Realtor.com.
What was that?
Realtor.com.
Okay.
The only you get the Realtor.com will give you almost everything that you're seeing on MLS. I mean, MLS can give you access to some more in-depth data about owners and probability of sale and stuff like that. But for the purpose of running comps, because who owned it doesn't make a difference, right? But when looking at comps, the only big difference of the MLS or maybe Realtor.com is sometimes Realtor.com and Zillow, they won't publish all the pictures that was once there. So when you're looking at trying to compare it, you do need to know what type of improvements and the extent of the improvements. So from a kitchen, did they put the Taj Mahal in there or did they put a wig on a pig? Because that's very important as you're trying to establish these values. But if you're having your notifications for your zip codes coming through your email or your phone, you will have already seen these properties as they went on the market, went pending, were flipped and sold. So before they can unpublish these photos, if you're really mastering, and we talked about that 2 weeks ago, if you're mastering the notifications and staying committed to that, even when they unpublish those photos, you will already have a pretty good idea of what it looked like. And mastering your backyard, right?
Jason's up next.
Jason, talk to me.
Hey, you mentioned hard cost versus soft costs.
Mm-hmm.
What are examples of hard costs versus soft costs?
Good question. Hard costs are items that don't typically fluctuate, right? And so when you're looking at scaling a deal, you have let's say you go 70% LTV, right? Whatever the price of the home is 70% of that is what the lender is going to provide for you. That's a hard number, right? Those don't typically change. But what can fluctuate is title and escrow, right? Or what you might be paying the realtor. Those can be pretty solid because you can make projections of them. But the softer things are the things that can fluctuate, right? The cost of what it's going to take to improve the property, that's going to be a hard cost. There's no getting around that, right? Those are things that are probably easier to project and they're consistent with the metric. Depending, no matter what property you buy, you can use an equation or projections to identify those and say, boom, it's pretty much going to cost me this.
Okay, so soft costs are basically just anything that could possibly fluctuate during the deal.
Correct.
All right. I do have another question if you don't mind, if no one else has a question.
Now, come on, Jason. We wait on you. Bring it to us. We appreciate it. It's a good question, too.
You're talking about private money at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best way? Can you run me through that conversation of approaching someone that you know has money and could potentially want to be a private money lender? If you know CPAs, doctors, attorneys that are into investing but do want to park their money somewhere. What's that conversation look like?
Very good question. Very, very good question, Jason. Very good question. I would first start by saying this. Be responsible. Because when people trust you and they loan money to you, you got to be responsible. You got to be transparent. Don't try to fulfill your big dream, and that goes for all of us, on somebody else's wall. To be responsible. Don't borrow anybody's money if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, analyzing deals and understanding it. Because there are people that out there that do trust and like and will believe in us. And I've seen people lose people's money I'll leave it at that. But to answer your question, great question. I'll start by saying this. Just by having the conversation and letting people know what you're doing, that's the first thing. I was at a housewarming yesterday, and I got the question, hey, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And now I just say, like, I invest in a little bit of real estate. That's what I do. And I network with my community. And there's always a follow-up question, right? Always, what does that look like? Or how long have you been doing that? What made you want to do that? What led you to believe that real estate investing was a good thing? How can I get into it? And I always dive shortly into that. After that, I let them know that, I work on flips, I work on multifamilies, and, these are just reoccurring revenue streams that I've been working on. So, and I'm also always raising capital. Most people don't know what that means. So if you tell somebody, hey, I'm raising capital, right? They're interested because they really don't know what that means. It can mean a lot of things. And then you tell them, by raising capital, what I do is I find real estate deals, whether myself or my partners, and those that have income that want to diversify it and get a faster return or an abundant return, we just negotiate terms. And so they put the money up and it's all secure. We write up a contract, identify our property, and we take it down. And usually I pay my investors back in 3 to 4 months. So I don't want to give you a specific pitch. I could have gave you a specific one, right? But what happens is I want to give you the idea of what's going on in the concept. I let them know what I do. I let them know my track record. And then I let them know about, more specifically outside of real estate investing, how the last one is I'm raising capital. Then from there, the gauge has to be, you're a smart guy, Jason. So that's why you don't see me trying to get in front of that. Do Jason, you're brilliant, right? And also different people are different. There was a gentleman I was speaking to last night. He has capital, but he was just so freaking quiet, right? And I was eating some food, right? And he would ask me the question and I would answer it and he'd be quiet for like 20 seconds. So I'm like, man, did I offend him? Does he think I'm a fraud? Like, what is it? But I don't know what he's going through in his process. After we talked for even more of an hour, conversation was done. Then he came back up to me, he said, man, let me make sure I get your number. It was like I met a completely different person. I think he needed time to assess and chew on it. He came back and said, man, I want to do some things. I got this house in Mirada. I want to pull some money out of, blah, 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 blah. And so what I'm saying is, minus a script. Let people know what you've been doing, right? Let them know a little bit about your experience, how much you love it, right? Because you got to communicate to people how much passion you are about things. Passion really is a great communicator. And then let them know last time, I'm always raising capital. Then I'll probably follow up with, have you ever flipped property or have you ever thought about partnering on a deal? 80% of the time they say, yeah, I thought about it. And you go from there. But again, I just think that simple framework, you're off to the races, Jason. Any other questions?
No, that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. Great question. Who else has something? Ulysses.
Hey, I got a question for you, Jake.
Come on, give it to me.
All right. So in a perfect world, right, if I were to go to somebody with more experience and for me, if I had brought the deal and I didn't want to make any income on it, I just want to say, hey, I just want my experience recorded.
Mm-hmm.
How does that look like? And have you experienced doing that for somebody? And what exactly does that entail? Because I can't wrap that around my head. Right?
Good question. That definitely has to be the better partnership. I would probably be doing it with somebody I'm actually going to be a part of the deal with, because there's going to be some risk involved, right? And you guys do become partners. I don't want to sparingly say just like, hey, somebody put me on title. Hey, somebody put me on title. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be establishing that relationship for a lot of reasons. But somebody might not want to just put you on title unless they know you, right? That's very different. Like if my little brother came to me, I just put him on title, right? But what good would that be doing to him? He's not even getting in real estate investing. But I would say that I would do it with the intentions of really trying to partner with some type of realistic partnership in which you probably do make some money, right? I fortunately was able to do that referral partner method early on and then create some experience early on, right? And my experience wasn't necessarily about hopping on title. I had, in my communication with the lender that I was working with at the time, in particular, I knew other investors and was bringing people to him. And then I would go check at the property. I called him. I said, yeah, man, I just left Kevin's property, man. It looks amazing. And I just hooked Kevin up with my stucco guy. It's a true story. Years ago, Jose Stucco Tholo. I hooked him up with this guy named Kevin. House turned out beautiful. So I was able to communicate through the phone that I know a little bit about construction. I can manage this. So it's all about being creative. But I'll have to think about that because I want to make sure I'm giving you the right advice. And I don't want to just spit off a quick verse. How about that, Joe? Can I work on that? I'll put it in my notes. All right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate you.
Okay, terrific. Well, let me check real quick. Ulysses, you got something for us?
Yeah, I got a question. So what does it look like when somebody is in foreclosure, like the seller's in foreclosure, and you have a week to get them out of that situation? Like, where would you start? I'll give you the short answer. You better get that money together, get that demand. Call title up. You got to get title on it because title can really guide you through what's going on and really determining if it's going to go to auction or what's going to take place. Find out who the attorney is. You can get extensions. If you have a contract in your hand, you have a deposit in escrow, the lender doesn't want to foreclose because you could do things like file bankruptcy and do all type of crazy stuff. So there's a way to do an extension, but they're going to want to see that you're really serious and can get this deal over. Where's the deposit? Where's the contract? Where's the proof of funds? And can your lender, whoever provided that money, can they give that attorney a call and giving him the confidence, right? Confidence that the deal can get put over the hill. Because a lot of people do try to avoid foreclosure because nobody wins. Yeah.
Nobody wins. Boran, where you at, man?
What's going on, bro?
How you doing?
Good. I actually did have a question.
Please.
How's that foreclosure process like for private money and hard money? So you collateral with them on a deal and then you don't pay them.
Good question. That's why confidence with them is so important because in California in particular, it is very easy to make it harder for a hard money lender to get their money back. And they don't like to litigate and foreclose on people because it costs them a lot of time. And imagine if they're foreclosing on you, that means you haven't made any payments. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And if they're a company for a hard money company, that money was loaned by Gerald's IRA, right? So I'm calling Gerald saying, hey, the loan that I did for you, for my company, yeah, we haven't paid you in 4 months. And it's looking like we can't pay you because this guy doesn't want to pay. So we're going to court. We need you to wire the money now for an attorney. And then we're going to be going to court on 24th of June. That's not a conversation that they want to have with somebody that's been filtering, especially if it was a heavy hitter that has millions of dollars that's pumping into the company. That bad reputation will spread and it will screw up their business. So their whole intention, as we all know, is trying to get the deal done. But I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. What does that process, give it to me one more time. What does that process look like for foreclosures from a hard money lender?
Yeah, so like if the private money guy is not getting any payments, and say it's not like say it's not a company, say it's just like I lend you $1 million and you're not paying me.
So private.
What's the next process? How long does that usually take? And
good question.
Do you list the property back, or do I have to actually sell it on the market? How does that go?
Supposing you went private and in your contract you detailed that you're securing the asset, you the lender is securing the asset, you're hopping in first position, and then you litigate them, you foreclose upon them. That means that you can have a judge, and I'm not an attorney, let me be very clear. If you secure the property in that loan, you can get in front of a judge, and the judge is going to force them to sell the property, and then you're going to be the first one to be paid.
Okay.
Cautious.
So you can't just take back.
No. That's definitely going to take a court decision. But we can dive back into that. Boran has a lot of really good information. He does some crazy commercial stuff. We're trying to get him on a podcast here real soon and take it from there. But I want you guys to, if you're not following him on IG, connect with him because he has some tools that I think that can take what we're talking about to a whole nother level, very similar to like Jason, Gerald, and so many others, right? But I want to also let you know that on August 29th,
I'm going to be having a meetup event with my team, but it's going to be exclusive to the Deal Mastery, and just going over some things. We'll meet in person, have some food, and connect. So I want you guys to get that on the calendar. I'll have the sign up in the school channel, right? Instagram, if you want to be part of our DM101 community, make sure you send us a message, DM101. We'd love to have you at the event as well. A lot of really big things happening. We're growing. My team's working their butts off, and we're just bringing more value, as much value as possible, okay? And so I want to tell you all, thank you again for tuning in this week. Make sure we're engaging in the school community. Share with anybody you know that really wants to take their game to the next level. If you guys have any topics or ideas that you want to kind of address, and I've been getting some notification, go ahead and put it in the school community, and we'll see how we can get it on the calendar, kind of walk through these things. Because I'm sure if one person has a question, then more than one person has the question as well, and we have the right answer. We want to make sure we do that. So in short, without further ado, I hope everybody has a happy Sunday. Keep grinding. Let's do it. And I'll see you guys next week. And I'll also discuss a few things in the comment sections below. Sounds good?
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. You guys keep me charged up. So I just want to tell you thank you so much. Sounds good? I'll see you all next Sunday.
All right, see ya.
Right on. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let me stop the stream.